This was in a little, Dr. Ray's little hospital on,
The Dr. Lynn.
Dr. Lynn, that's
Yeah,
right.
that was in Dr.
Dr.
Lynn's
Lynn.
little hospital. Now, the boys were born at the old general hospital.
This was
But
Dr.
the
Lynn's.
girls were both born down at Lynn's hospital. Yes, it was just that little building that's still there downtown.
That's on Arthur and, what is that side street?
Clark, I think.
Clark?
Mhm.
It's down just a block or so off of Main Street, or off
Yeah,
of
it is.
Center Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's all down there.
I think the building's still there, isn't it?
Oh, it's still there.
Well, they use it for hospital work, right?
Oh, they've divided it up into a lot of different things. Some lodge has over the top, and then where the Lynn's lived in the basement, in the main floor.
You always
They've got
liked
the
Dr.
restaurant and the store. And
You always liked Dr. Lynn pretty well, didn't you?
oh, yeah, I liked him real well. I couldn't cut off my head, and
When he
No,
took
but I
out, he
still
took
did.
out my tonsils on him.
oh, yes, and he got took out Frankie's tonsils. Oh, dear.
Then we moved from 812 up to 545.
545 South Grand.
Yeah. That was in,
Yeah,
what year?
that was, oh, dear. Well, right after Joanne was born,
Right
the
after
next summer.
1930, then,
It'd
right?
be 1930. Yes, it would be 1930. So we were there 4 years before we moved. 1934 we moved down to Garfield.
That's after 1436, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody knows our numbers when we use them, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, that 812, it was fun. And Frank, starting his first year in junior high, I think, no, the year we moved from there.
Out to Garfield, 1436.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our neighbors had a big mulberry tree, and he used to climb the mulberry tree. What was that girl's name?
Wilma?
Horace.
Wilma Morris.
That was out on your South Grant, though.
Yeah, that was on South Grand. Yeah. And the year we moved out to South Grand was in 1934, just after school had started. And it was your first year to junior high. And all the kids that lived across the other side of Halliday, which was up the street, we were on Garfield and, or Hayes and Holiday. Could ride the bus down to junior high. So I said to Dr. Lynn, I think it's a darn shame that that boy of mine has to walk that whole distance, and they're just kids living on that. She says, we'll fix that up. So we used to go to Lebanon, and Frank should ride the bus. So we had to ride the bus. But then we moved, and so he didn't have very far to walk to school.
That's right.
Yeah. And Dale was a fifth grader, and Bud was a sixth grader. And they had about 4 weeks of school at that little school.
Right
Emerson?
across the street, wasn't it?
Yes,
Was that Emerson across?
yeah, it was Emerson. At Emerson.
We rode our bikes down there, didn't we?
And so we talked to the teacher about it. She said, well, if there's any way that they could get back here for the next 2 weeks until you got your report card, it'd be a lot better. So they rode their bike from Garfield, from 1436 down to Emerson School for those 2 weeks. And then we went to Lincoln, didn't you?
That was just through the block from where we lived on Garfield, too, wasn't it?
Now, that must have been a couple of years later that we started to work on the basement, is that right?
How you know, I don't know when we started. Could have been about that time. That I don't like to.
Or were you in high school, Frank, do you remember?
Well, I remember, I think it was when I was, how many years did we work on the basement?
It must have been 3 or 4.
Well, I was going to say, we were still working on it when I was going to college, I know. That's when we were pouring the concrete out front for the,
We started kind of young because Bud and Dale used to play cars down there in the dirt.
yeah, I remember that.
And
They used to spend most of the time.
Frank
And that while I was doing all the work.
Frank was always telling the kids he was laying eggs for somebody. Remember that?
Lynn Thomas.
Yeah.
That was out on South Grant, though.
Oh, I know. I don't know whatever happened to Lynn. Never hear anything about him anymore.
Anyway, we dug out the basement, starting about probably, must have been 35 or 36 then.
Yeah, it must have been around about then.
And
I
then
don't quite remember.
we put it out all in the backyard till it was up almost to the telephone line.
The power lines, wasn't it?
Power line.
Yeah.
Must have been 15 feet high.
And then Dad got that old Overland that we could haul away, is that right?
Yeah. So then we started hauling it away. What happened then, I don't remember. We took it down to the river.
Oh, yeah, no, you tell about that.
Well, you can tell him, because he's taking your picture.
Well, I know, but you don't know more about it than I do.
I'll correct as you go along.
Well, did you dump it in the river?
On the bank.
Over the bank, it's in the river?
Over the bank, into the Fort Mick River.
Yeah.
Just down from Garfield, almost straight down to the river there. And it was quite a precipice there. And we hauled the dirt down in a little trailer we had hooked onto the back. Wasn't that the way it went?
Yep.
Yeah. And Bud used to help me a lot. Dale helped a little, but Bud was the big helper. And one time we took it down, and we always used to unhook it, the little trailer, and push it over to the bank and lift it up and let the dirt fall out. And one time it got away from us and went all the way down the bank into the river.
I can still remember it bouncing. I can still remember you in your swimming suit down there trying to get it
I
out.
said, how the heck did we ever get it out? Did we get it out?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
got a neighbor to come out and get a
Oh, I think
car attached to it or something.
Mr. Cordham
I think it was.
came down and helped us get it out.
Yeah, I wasn't told that about it, but I didn't remember
Oh,
that.
I don't.
Now, Frank had quite an affinity for the Fort Mick River, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. You guys went with your sleighs one time,
Yeah,
when, in the wintertime when it was frozen.
Somebody-
Supposed to have been frozen.
down by
Clark
First
Street.
grade school, where I went, first grade school.
Oh, it was over by Lincoln there.
No, over by junior high.
Emerson, no, excuse me, Irving Junior High.
Irving. No, Irving was a junior high.
Jefferson, wasn't it?
Jefferson, yes. That's what the new Jefferson's up where we live now. Yeah. And these kids came home wet, and I said, how'd you get so wet? Well, we were playing around up in those drifts, and we got wet. But after a while, I got out of it. What had happened? They were sliding down the bank with this sleigh, and they'd slide over and cross on this ice, but they went down just once too many, and the ice broke and went down in the river they went. Oh, dear, that scared me to death. I don't want to be better any better now.
Well, we got each other out, didn't we?
We did.
Oh, these little kids.
I think if we'd have stood up, we could have probably came to our waist or something. They've got the cement flume all the way along there,
Yeah.
I noticed.
Yeah,
Didn't
they
get
have
it.
value. Well, Dave are real good friends of ours that are indoors, and they're 4 kids. They live just a block away from us when we lived at 525. So, especially times they take us out to visit their folks. And we got to be such good friends that my kids would always call them Mom Fosse. And I thought of her name the other night. Her name was Fanny, but I don't know what the devil his name was.
Arthur.
Percy.
Percy,
Percy.
that's it.
Percy.
They had homesteaded that place up in Credit, hadn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he owned all that up there, clear up to the, what they call the rock. And now there's homes built up there and chicken place where they sell eggs, big orchard. Oh,
One of the great pictures we have of your first grandson, David, is when we were up there and he was about 4 years old and he had just a pair of diapers on and he was looking around the corner at these chickens and his pant and his diaper was just falling off, so we took the picture as these chickens came out. It's the
And I
cutest
don't-
picture you've ever
I
seen.
don't think it was a diaper, I think it was a little short and last worth anything.
Little Hootsy had his pants down,
It was
huh?
falling off as he was,
Oh, well, he was peeking around like this, you
Yeah,
know.
there's his
and there
pants
was
coming
his
off.
old pants coming down on it. It is a cute picture of him.
Well, I remember you left us out there one time, and we were not exactly enamored with Grandma Say's food.
No, she used to come in and stay with you kids.
Was that it?
Yes. She loved to come to town, and anytime she'd come and stay with you kids, she was happy. Because then she'd spend and,
You mean she wasn't a very good cook, Mom?
no, she was a good cook. But then this one morning, I guess she was afraid she was going to waste some food or something. She put the leftover corn in your hot cakes or something.
Corn and peas.
And, oh, you kids were so bad when we got home. They didn't want more space to stay with them again. That's what she put in the pancakes.
Do a lot of fishing, didn't he?
Well, yes, we used to do fishing. Most of the time, we liked to go and do salmon fishing, and the salmon was on the run. But, that's just one of the things Dad liked to do.
Didn't you go with him on some of those?
No,
Not on the salmon ones, but the other ones.
no. Well, we take go on camping trips, but not when you go salmon fishing.
Now, he left the railroad and did some union organizing for a while there, for a few years, didn't he? What was that about?
Well, tell me about that.
I don't remember
Oh, well,
what it was, I don't really know what was going on.
they called a strike in Pocatello, the Boulders.
The mechanics did the,
Chevrolet.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. And one time he couldn't get anybody, just what I'm telling you. One time he couldn't get anybody to go down there and wear this sign and walk back and forth in front. We made Frankie go down and do
I
it.
remember that.
And Frankie wasn't.
You don't remember
I
it?
don't remember it at all, no.
Oh, you were so unhappy. Bonnie went down and said, that kid won't walk that. And I said, I don't blame you there. I don't think it's fair. He's not mixed up in this. You shouldn't be doing that to him. So then he went down and brought you home. And he said you were walking out with your eye. And I said, I don't blame you. Oh, he was mad.
I don't remember that at all.
But then he took a couple of years and traveled all over the state, didn't he?
Yeah, we traveled mostly up in North Idaho.
Remember spending some time in Boise, too.
Well, yeah, we spent a little time in Boise, but we spent more time at Coeur d'Alene.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that one fall when we came back to school. Oh, you and Dale were like a couple of brown Indians. The backs were just like brown leather.
I remember one summer we were up there, Frank stopped by to see us, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
What was going on, Frank? Were you carrying a car up to Spokane or something?
And I drove a car to Portland, returning a used car, and hitchhiked home, and I got a ride up to northern Idaho. The guy was going that way instead of down south, so I just rode along with him and stopped to see you guys for a day. And then I got put back out on the highway to wend my way home.